Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about another important chapter name, topic name, that is appendicular skeleton system. What we are discussing? Appendicular skeleton system. So yesterday we discussed about what we discussed yesterday, axial skeleton system. So, axial skeleton system, nearly you know very well the complete ribs, right? And what he called the sternum, okay, and limbs, sorry, not limbs, the cranium, facial bones, like that we discussed. You might remember the complete axial skeleton yesterday we discussed, right? So, first of all, we have to think about what is axial, what is appendicular. In that way, we should have to go. So, axial in the sense what? The center parts. So that's why it will be called axial skeleton system. So what are the axial skeleton system? Skull, cranium. In the skull we discussed the cranium, 8, face 14, head 1, ear ossicle 6, vertebral column 26, sternum, ribs, frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, sphenoid, ethmoid, cranial bones, and nostrils, maxillae, zygomatic, mandible, lacrimal, okay, palatines, inferior nasals, omer, like that, and vertebral column, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum, coccyx. So we discussed this all under axial skeleton system. So today we are going to discuss about appendicular skeleton system. What is appendicular skeleton system? So appendages, you know very well, appendages, that is important. Okay. So appendicular skeleton system is appendages. What is the meaning of appendages? You know very well, forelimbs, hind limbs, upper limb. Okay, these all will be considered as appendages. Okay, so in this, what you call first appendicular skeleton system, we will discuss about pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle. Okay, so before going to that, pectoral girdle, what is pectoral girdle and complete information we will see. The bones of the upper and lower limbs along with their girdles, pelvic girdle, pectoral girdle, so near the neck, pelvic near the, what you called this one, lower abdomen, pelvis. So the girdles are there. So togetherly called appendicular skeleton system. Total appendicular skeleton system, how many bones? That is important. The total appendicular skeleton system consists of 126. How much? 126 bones. Okay, this point you have to remember. First, the pectoral girdle we'll discuss. The upper limbs are attached to the pectoral girdles. These are very light and allow the upper limbs a degree of mobility. So girdles are helpful to mobility, not seen in anywhere else in the body. The girdles are formed by two halves. Each half is pectoral girdle consists of clavicle or collarbone, scapula. Okay, is a large thin triangular bone. Clavicle or collarbone. Scapula is the what you call large thin triangular, clavicle and scapula. Okay, so next one is the bone situated in the dorsal surface of the rib cage. Okay, the bone situated between the dorsal surface of the rib cage between the second and seventh ribs. Where it will be present? Second and seventh rib. It is slightly elevated ridge called the spine, which projects as a flat expanded process called, so here we will say acromion process will be there. The clavicle articulate with that particular process. Behind the acromion process, a glenoid. Very important bit. What is that one? Glenoid cavity will be present in this area. Glenoid. So a glenoid cavity which articulates the head of the humerus from the shoulder. You know humerus, radius, ulna. So humerus will be joined with the near the glenoid cavity. Okay. Each clavicle is a long, slender bone with two curvatures which lies horizontally, connects the axial skeleton with the appendicular skeleton. So axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton connected with one with the clavicle. Once again, pectoral girdle very important, children. Why? Because it will be get 1 or 2 marks in the NEET exam. Pectoral girdle means what? 2 bones. It is that one. Pectoral clavicle and scapula. So clavicle means what? Clavicle means collarbone. Scapula is a large thin triangular bone. So and the dorsal surface between the which one? 7th and 2nd and 7th ribs. So the ridge will be there. The expanded process called that acromion process. Below the acromion depression, glenoid cavity. Here, which one? Humerus and the radius. Humerus will be attached. So that scapula and clavicle. What is the clavicle? Connects the axial skeleton with the appendicular skeleton. Next, upper limbs. What are the upper limbs? Come on, upper limbs. The upper limb consists of 30 separate bones. How many? 30 separate bones. So 30 means 60, 60. 30 plus 30, 60. So how many? Come on, you see. The upper bone, 30 separate bones, and is specialized for mobility. 4 limbs for mobility. The skeleton of the arm, arm, the region between the shoulder and elbow is the humerus. Shoulder and elbow is the humerus. Next, the head of humerus articulate with, just now I said, glenoid cavity of the scapula and forms the shoulder joint. Next, the distal end of humerus articulate with the 2 forearm bones, the radius, ulna. Radius and ulna. The forearm is the region between the elbow and the wrist. Okay, forearm bones, radius and ulna. Next, one processes, olecranon process, very important. Olecranon process is situated at the upper end of the ulna. So upper end of ulna will be called olecranon. Very, very, very important. Olecranon process. Okay. Olecranon process will be there, upper end of ulna. Next, situated upper end of ulna, which forms the pointed portion of elbow. The hand consists of what is called carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. How many carpals? 8 in number, arranged in the 2 rows of 4 each. The anterior surface of wrist has tunnel-like appearance due to the arrangement of carpals with the ligaments. This tunnel is termed as a carpal tunnel. So tunnel-like appearance will be there. That's why it is called carpal tunnel. Metacarpals form is how many? 5. So and digits, phalanges how many? What do you call phalanges? How many? There will be phalanges nearly 14. So 14 into 2, 28. So like this, humerus, ulna, radius, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. The processes behind the above the ulna, what do you call it? That is called olecranon process at the upper end of the ulna, which forms a pointed portion of the elbow. Pointed portion of elbow is the because of olecranon process, that is upper portion of ulna. Next, come to another important, pelvic girdle. So pelvis, very, very important one. So pectoral girdle we discussed. Next one is pelvic girdle. The pelvic girdle is a heavy structure, specialized weight bearing. What's the use of pelvic girdle? Helpful for the weight bearing. It is composed of 2 hip bones called coxal bones. Hip bones are called coxal bones. Very, very important. So together with coxal bones, and the bone secures the lower limbs to the axial skeleton. So now you see, sacrum and coccyx, very, very important. The pelvic girdle consists of which one? The pelvic girdle consists of sacrum and coccyx, the hip bones of the basin like bony pelvis. Okay. Now you see, the coxal bone consists of what? Very, very important. Come on, ilium, ischium, pubis. Very, very important. So what are those? Ilium, ischium, pubis. Okay, ilium, ischium, pubis. Pelvic girdle consists of what? Ilium. Write down. Ilium, ischium, pubis. These are the 3 parts, very important. Ilium, ischium, pubis. Okay, ilium, ischium, pubis. So The point where the point of the fusion of ileum, ischium and pubis is a socket called one particular structure that is called acetabulum is there. So there will be pubic symphysis is there. Okay, these all are parts of the what you called pelvic girdle, ileum, ischium, pubis, and pubis symphysis. Come to lower limbs. What are the lower limbs? There will be femur. Okay, the thigh, the 30 bones. How many layers in the limbs? 30 bones. Okay, so there will be what you called the thigh region, leg. Okay, femur, the acetabulum. You know acetabulum etc. Not. There will be there in the pelvic girdle. So there will be the femur is 2, tibia is 2, fibula is 2. Okay, and the tarsals 14, metatarsals 10, phalanges 28. They will be totally how many? 30. Again, they will also 30 plus 30, 60 will come. What are those hind limbs? Femur 2, tibia 2, fibula 2, patella 2, tarsals 4, metatarsals 10, 14, tarsals 14, metatarsals 10, phalanges 28. Total how many? 60. Here what? Pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle consists of three joints together, one bone. That is ileum, ischium, and pubis. And pubic symphysis also there. That is the most important structure to join with the which one? The pelvic girdles. Okay. Next one is a structure of total number of bones in the adult humans. You see, 80 plus 2 plus 2 plus 60 plus 6 2 plus 60. So nearly how many we will get? 206. Okay, 206. You know very well how it will become like that. Carpals, metacarpals, phalanges, and radius, humerus, ulna. Okay, and pelvic girdle, pectoral girdle togetherly, we will see how many 206 bones will be there. The structure of a typical long bone. So this is a typical long bone. So you might be see so many times in the dangerous symbol signal, the bone will be there or not that signal. That is a typical bone. So a typical long bone is has a diaphysis. What is called? A typical long bone is called diaphysis and epiphysis. So diaphysis and epiphysis. So this particular area is a diaphysis. That is called epiphysis. So and membranes, and also membranes are there in the typical long bone. Membranes also there in the typical long bone. Next one, a tubular diaphysis or shaft forms the long axis of the bone. So diaphysis forms the long axis of the bone. It is constructed of thick collar of compact bone that surrounded the central medullary cavity. This is a central medullary cavity will be there in the what you call typical bone. So now you see the parts. The parts you see. What are the diaphysis? What are the epiphysis? You see. So this space is called what you call marrow cavity, bone marrow cavity. So the region where the diaphysis and epiphysis meet. Okay. So this particular area, diaphysis and epiphysis meet. This is called metaphysis. Okay. The external surface of entire bone except the joint surface is covered by double layer membrane called periosteum. So this is called a periosteum. What is the meaning of periosteum? So very important, double layered membrane. Okay, the entire bone except the joint surface is covered by a double layered membrane called the periosteum. So periosteum means outer layer. This is the covering of the periosteum, covering of the bone, periosteum. So very important. So the periosteum, inner one is called osteoblast. Okay, they are very important. The inner osteogenic is there. Osteogenic inner layer is periosteum. Inner one is osteogenic layer, which produces the here osteogenic layer is there, which produces the osteoblasts. Very important. So what I am telling, the external surface entire bone except the joint surface is covered by a double layer membrane called periosteum. The outer fibril layer is dense irregular connecting tissue. Inner osteogenic layer consists of, inner one is osteogenic and produce the osteoblast. That is important. Osteoblast means bone forming cells. It secretes the bone matrix element. Osteoclasts also there. Bone destroying cells also there. There are primitive stem cells, osteogenic cells that give the rest to osteoblast. Osteogenic cells give rest to the osteoblasts. So peristanium is richly supplied with nerve fibers, lymphatic vessels. So many outer layer will be there supplied with blood vessels and nerve fibers are there. So internal bone surface is covered by delicate connecting tissue membrane called endosteum. So it is endosteum, internal bone structure. So internal bone surface are covered with a delicate connecting tissue membrane that is called endosteum. Outer one is periosteum. Inner one is endosteum. Periosteum divided into outer and again inter. Inter in the osteoclast layer, osteotic layer, that will osteogenic layer produce the osteoblast and osteoclast. And inner one is called endosteum. Endosteum covers the trabeculae of sponge bone. So here this particular bone, this particular area covered with the endosteum. Okay, so there between the epiphysis and diaphysis, so this is epiphysis and diaphysis, one plate will be there. That is called epiphysis plate. This particular plate will be there. Epiphysis, diaphysis and epiphysis. What you call the plate name is epiphyseal plate or growth plate. Epiphyseal plate or growth plate will be there. Okay, once again we'll be discussing about the bone. The structure of typical bone will be seen. A long bone has a diaphysis, epiphysis. So what is diaphysis? So tubular shaft, long axis of bone. So it consists of medullary cavity or bone marrow. You know, this is very important. The epiphysis of bone ends compact bone forms the exterior epiphysis and hypometaphysis. See here, epiphysis, metaphysis, like that. So epiphysis are the bone ends. Compact bone forms the exterior of epiphysis and their interior contains spongy bone with red bone marrow, spongy. Okay, next one, epimesis meet is called diaphysis and epiphysis. Come on, diaphysis and epiphysis meet, that is called metaphysis. The external surface of entire bone consists of periosteum. So total surface is covered with the periosteum. Periosteum divided into what you call two layers. What you call osteoclast, outer fibrous layer, inner osteogenic layer. Osteogenic layer produces two cells, osteoblast and osteoclast. And endosteum, just the endosteum covers a trabeculate, spongy portion of the body, and in between the diaphysis and epiphysis, one plate-like structure also will be there. That is called epiphyseal plate, or what you called growth plate. So like this, there will be axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton will be there. In the next class, we will be discuss. What we will be discussing in the next class, will be discuss about the joints, fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, synovial joints, and what is that immovable, partially movable, and completely movable. Fibrous means immovable, fibrous joints, sutures. Cartilaginous means slightly movable in between the vertebrae. Joints. Next, synovial joints means perfectly movable, like ball and socket joints. Okay, like that. The joints concept will be discussed in the tomorrow. So up to here, what we finished: axial skeleton system and appendicular skeleton system. So 126 bones are there in the appendicular skeleton system. So axial skeleton system, we will be have 80. So like that, there are very important thing is then the skeleton system. Very important. You know, yesterday we discussed skeleton is very important for framing. Skeleton system is helpful for framing of shape. Skeleton system is important for the what you called total body shape. Weight it will be there, and when connects the all body parts, protects the internal organs. Like that, so many functions are there. So about the skeleton system. So neat bits. These all are neat bits. What are the how many tibia, how many fibula, how many patella, how many phalanges, how many tarsals, how many metatarsals, what is the hind limb, femur, tibia, what is a pectoral girdle, what is a glenoid cavity, what is what you call pubic symbiosis. Okay, This is the very important. So pelvic girdle formed with the 3 bones. What are the pelvic girdle formed with which bones? Ilium, ischium and pubis. What is pubis symphysis? Okay, like this, all the neat bits will be there. It will come in the exam. So you should be very careful about these all the things.